Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stretty News TV. I'm your host, Joey Tabor. Today, I'm joined by three panelists. We're going to preview this Saturday's big English Clasico against Liverpool. Before we get started, I would just like to say to Ben Speech, he's going to take a step back, and he's working on some of his own personal things. I just want to thank him. Everyone at Stretty News wants to thank him. We want to wish him well in his future endeavors and wish him all the best. So, first up, Daniel, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. It's good to be on Stretchy News. Just glad the international break's finally over.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have Mike as well. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. It's good to be back on. And just echoing the previous comment, I'm so happy that international break's over. It was just unbearably tedious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really support the U.S. national team because there's a lot of politics. I don't want to get into all that, but I got to watch them get spanked by Brazil, and Klinsmann was saying it was a benchmark to see where we're at, and we're nowhere near where we need to be.
What was the score?
4-1, I think.
Really? And that Brazil team isn't even very good.
Exactly. And the goal we scored was late consolation. Anyway, also from the States is Nate. He's from out west. How you doing, Nate?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. That last goal was a banger, though, from like 35 yards. Too bad we got worked for 92 and a half minutes before that happened.
It was so bad that one of our players got taken off after 35 minutes, but I don't want to talk about that. So this weekend's game is really, for me, it's really important because not is it just against our rivals, our local, rivals, our competitive rivals. There's a big, history between the clubs. But neither team has impressed so far this season. Liverpool, for me, are lucky to have the amount of points they do. Because if you look at the Bournemouth game, a goal was called off that Bournemouth scored, and their goal was offsides. Also, that Coutinho strike in the first game against Stoke was awfully lucky, in my opinion, and I thought the keeper could have done better. They've only played one good half against Arsenal, but we can kind of say the same for us. We haven't really hit our marks, and we've had a very slow start, but we're fortunate to be where we're at points-wise. We're going to talk about David De Gea first. So there's the talk today is Jorge Mendes is at Carrington. They're trying to negotiate a new deal, Dan. 2-3 days before the window, if you would have told me that he was going to sign a new deal, I would have probably laughed at you. What do you make of all that, Dan? It's quite the turnaround.
Well, yeah, I will actually be shocked if he does stay and signs a new contract in the long term. I think he really does want to be back in Madrid. With his family. I still don't think it's a Manchester United thing. I think he's loved playing for Manchester United. You can see that by his performances last season. He was absolutely fantastic. And I don't think there's a problem with the manager. He played him in every single game last season, barring when he was injured at the end of the season. So I don't think there's anything wrong there. But I will be a bit interested to know what the buyout clause will be in the contract and the length of the contract as well, because I mean, if it's not a very, very long contract, with rumours it is going to be a 5-year contract, which I'll be a bit surprised at. But it depends what the buyout clause is, because if it's around 40 million, then it looks like he could be staying for the foreseeable future, because I don't think that Real Madrid even wanted to pay more than about 15 million for him really this summer, and so I'm not sure they'd want to pay around 40 or even 50 million for him next summer. So the deal could be off if he does sign, but I'm still not sure it's gonna what it's gonna be, what's gonna happen, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, with the transfer ban rumored to be looming, and Real Madrid, kind of dicking around last summer, it will be interesting. But I think in the end, if we got a world record for the keeper, I think everyone will be happy. Mike and Dan, and we all touched on how much we can't stand the international break, and Mike's really divided. He splits opinions on Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney got his 50th goal, Mike. It is a big moment in his career, big moment in England, regardless of who he scores against and whatnot. But all we're asking for is just one goal in the league, not 50 international goals. What do you think? Do you think Rooney will be able to get off the mark this weekend? Traditionally he doesn't really do well against Liverpool. He missed a penalty last year that would have put us, 3-1 ahead. So I'll let you go in on that.
Well, Rooney doesn't do well against any team from the Liverpool area. He doesn't do very well against, not very well against Everton in recent years either. No, I didn't see. There was a few nice touches here and there, but you can't really read anything into the performance against San Marino. I mean, they were an even worse team than Club Bruges, and he looked okay against them. And then once he played anybody competitive again, he looked completely out of touch. My argument, I still stand by what I said. I mean, I still think he's in a terminal physical decline because he played too many games at too young of an age. It's a common problem that happens in very talented English players. You go all the way back. You can go to Michael Owen, another one who was played far too often too young. He was done by the time he hit 27 when he should have been at his peak. In terms of these goal scoring record for England, I mean, it's fantastic. You know, I think anybody should be happy for him that he got that record. But I'm going to touch upon something that one of the contributors to the Stretty News website says, a regular columnist, Dan Stapleton, who said on the Stretty News podcast that he felt it was almost a feeling that he'd done it by default, really, because he'd just been around for such a long time and he'd not had competition. He doesn't, certainly for England, he doesn't rank above Charlton, nor does he rank above some of the great strikers like Shearer, Lineker, Jimmy Greaves, who have much better strike rates for England. I certainly hope I'm wrong, though. I mean, no one wants to be proved right when they make these grim predictions about the players. You know, you want him to explode into form. It's a great opportunity for him to do so at the weekend, but I'm not sure whether he's going to. But with James Wilson going out on loan, there's not really any competition anymore for him, is there?
You know, I really like what you said there, that the Australian news guy said that he almost did it by default. And when you do play that many games and you're the penalty taker, you know, for me, that Bobby Charlton, you know, not even playing as a striker, scoring some of those goals, you know, from most of those goals, if not all of them, from midfield and, you know, against the teams he did it against, you know, he'll always be, you know, one of my favorite players. I enjoy watching, you know, old videos of him, just screamers from outside the box, you know, unheard of for his time. And you touched on something. You said there's not a lot of competition with Wilson, you know, rumored to be going out on loan or is out on loan to Derby County. Nate, Anthony Martial has come in. Louis van Gaal himself has said, he said the fee is ridiculous. He said he didn't buy him for him. He bought him for the next manager. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on the kid. There's going to be expectations when you know the fee is that much. He can't help that. Do you think that he's going to start?
No, I don't think he'll start. I'm hoping that, like when we bought Ronaldo came in, and he was such a, I mean, he obviously was a raw talent and young, but he was rarely used. He was kind of brought in and out. And even Moyes did that a little bit with Januzaj a couple seasons ago, where he played well, but then he'd sit 2, 3, 4 games, and then he might come in as a sub. And it's interesting to me that Martial coming in, Wilson going out on loan, does leave you with Rooney and Martial as your strikers. And so he's definitely going to play. And I really appreciated Van Gaal coming out and saying, hey, I bought him for my successor, you know, he's not for right now, blah, blah, blah. And just trying to deflect as much of the attention off of the young striker as he can to hopefully give him some time to settle in. You know, if he comes out and says, yes, you know, we bought Martial, he's the next big talent, he's going to be the best in the world, everything, you know, along with all the reports, it just heaps tons of pressure. So I think the manager saying that just relaxes him, brings him down, and hopefully it's going to allow Martial to play forward. I hope he gets some game time right away. I'd love to see him come out, even on Saturday against Liverpool. What a match at Old Trafford. I mean, listen, you're 19 years old. You just got bought for however millions of pounds, and your first match could be against Liverpool at Old Trafford. Those are the things that dreams are made of. So I hope he gets a chance. I hope he comes out and does it. And I hope Rooney just kicks on. Yeah, he might have done a lot of what he's done by default, but if you look back at what he's done, you know, Lampard took penalties, Gerrard took penalties. Rooney could have broke the record 3 years ago if he had taken all the penalties. And if Rooney hadn't scored the goals he's scored, England, a team I do enjoy following just because it's better than following the U.S. at times, they wouldn't be anywhere near a lot of the things that they've done. So it's quite interesting to watch him, but I hope Martial and Rooney can show him the way, and Martial in the end gets his chance.
Is following England that much better than the USA? I'm not so sure.
Well, you know, I think I understand where Nate's comes from because I do enjoy following them as well because, you know, a lot of the Premier League players are there, players that we enjoy watching. And to be honest, you know, for me and Nate's point, you know, you look at some of the players you had in the mid-2000s, early 2000s, you know, it's almost a crime that you guys didn't win something. But I think, you know, Rooney is the only striker other than Martial now with Wilson going out. I'm dreading the thought of seeing Fellaini as the number 9, or it's just it's just a clusterfuck of thoughts going through my head. So Dan, Ander Herrera, would you actually I'm going to touch on Martial real quick because he can play out wide. Dan, would you play him out wide at least? Because I think that this team needs pace. I think we can all agree that United lack pace, and the only pace they really have is Memphis. So I'll ask you the same question, Dan. Would you start Martial? And would you start him striker or out wide?
I personally wouldn't start him straight away in this game, and I don't think Louis van Gaal will either. But personally, I would probably put him out on the right-hand side when we first bring him into the team for his pace. I think long-term, obviously, he probably will be the striker up there. But there is obviously a number of options what he could play, because he could play Mata in the number 10 role. And obviously put him out on the right, which is what I'd personally do for now if and when he does start to come into the team. And also if he plays up front, then we'd probably drop Rooney back into the number 10 role, which is probably where I would like to see as the season progresses, because I think probably that is Rooney's best position in that number 10 role. I know obviously he's had to play the number 9 role now for club and country, because especially for England, there is no other strikers really apart from Harry Kane. There's nothing left for England. The others are constantly getting injured, so he's the only one. But I don't think he will start. No, not for this game. But it could be nice to see him come off the bench against Liverpool with that. Obviously with the pace later on in the game, it could be a key factor in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather Van Persie coming off the bench, and for £4 million, that transfer fee just looks even worse, and that whole debacle. So Liverpool haven't been impressive at all, Mike. We talked about that. I touched on it a little bit. Brendan Rodgers is already under massive pressure because he spent the amount of money he spent. I couldn't get back into the top 4. He blew the Suarez money. He's probably going to blow this, the Sterling money. We'll have to wait and see, but. Is there anyone on Liverpool other than a key battle of Benteke versus Blind? And we'll talk about that, so I don't want you to touch on that. Anyone other than Benteke that worries you on Liverpool?
I suppose if he has a good game, Firmino could be a worry. I mean, I'm quite relieved Coutinho's not going to be played, to be honest. He really would have concerned me as he played, but. No, but I suppose if you were Liverpool, you would have watched us and thought, is there anyone in that United team that's going to worry you? On paper, yes. On form, probably not. So I don't know. It's lining up. Could be an absolutely terrible game because you've got two teams who know how to have lots of the ball and not do anything with it. And two teams who've probably got more points than they deserved at this point of the season. One thing I would say. Our defeat to Swansea, you could half see it coming. Swansea are a very good team. I predicted at the start of the season they'll finish top 8. They may even finish higher, to be honest. I think they look better than Tottenham and Southampton and maybe better than Liverpool in terms of their first 11. And they targeted Blind for pace very quickly, and that could be the one concern that they'll try and target Blind again because very few players are going to beat Chris Smalling in the air. But Liverpool's defeat to West Ham, nobody could have saw that coming. Not so as comprehensive as it was. So that might give us half a chance that may have really knocked the wind out of them quite a lot, just in the manner of their defeat more than anything else.
Yeah, West Ham, they go to the Emirates, they win on the opening day, they win at Liverpool, and no one saw it coming. You touched on Blind getting, Swansea targeting him for pace. I expect them maybe to play 2 strikers, maybe to play Ings off of Benteke. Nathaniel, is that a worry? We've been, Blind has passed, some of his tests, and against Swansea got caught out for pace a little bit. Are you worried that Benteke is going to just abuse Blind all game and knock down balls for Ings or Firmino or other runners off of him? Is that's got to be our most worrying area, wouldn't you think?
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I've been worried about every week since summer tour when he announced Blind was going to be a center back. We are worried about him just getting beat out. And like you said, he has come through and passed a lot of the tests that he's been faced with. So I have to give him some credit for that. But Benteke, Lukaku, some of these taller strikers, we're going to test it, and Smalling's there. So I think they have to figure out how they're going to make that work. But in the end, if like say an Ings does start next to a Benteke, I think that changes a lot when it comes to it, because instead of obviously that one main striker, now those two can run opposite, and if they're smart, you'll put Benteke on Daily Blend. It's just what you would do, and you try to stay away from Chris Smalling, because to be honest, Chris Smalling has been unbelievable this season, top notch. Even watching him in the England match against Switzerland, they ran at him, they did whatever. He came away with the ball. Granted, he couldn't pass it to the next guy, but he still wanted, nothing got past him. And now we get to see Daily Blend again. I still am shocked we didn't get a center back. I still haven't come to terms with it. I'm a bit in mourning that this is what we've decided to do for this season. But I do think Daily Blend can prove people wrong. And it's going to be matches like these where there is a big striker or fast striker or two strikers where he's going to have to do it. And he makes a lot of money per season. He's a good footballer. He needs to step up and prove it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate he can't do anything about his height. He can get bigger in the gym and stronger, but he can't do anything about his height. And I am worried about that. I think Mike said it could be a really boring game, or it could be really exciting. It could be like a 6-6 or 7-6, or because I think obviously we have the better fullbacks and Smalling, but their defense isn't that good, Dan, is it? Also, I'm not really like I was saying. Benteke worries me, but Firmino, he hasn't really he's just getting his feet wet in the Premier League. I'm not really our midfield versus their midfield. If you look at it, they have Henderson, Lucas, Joe Allen, the Welsh Xavi, Emre Can. He usually gets stuck playing at the back. I think that we can dominate midfield. Dan, where do you see? Let's flip it around. We talked about where they could hurt us. Where can we hurt them?
Well, obviously, the midfield, as you said, I think our midfield is fantastic. Now we've got plenty of options in there, but I think we really need to get a Lovren. I think that is really an area where we can really exploit, because watching him against West Ham was so funny, to be honest. I mean, when he was down by the corner flag, I don't have a clue what he was doing. It was hilarious to watch. And he's been absolutely dog shit for Liverpool since they signed him. That was really about 20 or whatever million it was wasted there. So hopefully we can really get him. Liverpool's defence in the other games didn't look terrible, but in that particular game it didn't look good at all. So I'm sure we can get at their defenders. Hopefully this will give Rooney a lot of confidence. Getting that England goal, and hopefully he can go on and perform. I mean, at home I think he's got a few goals against Liverpool, but away he's not done so well. But hopefully he can continue to get the goals, and hopefully we can get the victory.
Yep, absolutely. I think Lovren and Johnny Evans were in a competition to see who could be more shit and who could make more mistakes, and it's still going. So, something I was thinking about that I didn't really touch on before, Memphis Depay, it's known Brendan Rodgers was chasing him, wanted to sign him. Last season we wanted a right back. We all, United fans wanted Klein. I don't know if we were in for him. Read what you want. Liverpool fans will say he snubbed us to join them because, he would love to play in Europa League over Champions League and make more money, whatever. So are you excited, Mike, to watch Memphis go against Klein? Is that something that, other than everything else being kind of, relatively not boring, but, not as exciting, is that something that could stick out or stand out? And who has the upper hand there?
I'd probably give it to Klein. Klein's probably been one of the bright spots of Liverpool at the start of the season. He's a very, very good fullback. Memphis has been very in and out of his performance. He's quite inconsistent. It was to be expected. He's still a young guy. He's sort of just getting to grips with the Premier League. He's still a little green. You can see that when he plays. His decision making isn't always the best. But I suppose in some ways it's hard to predict what way that's going to go, because if Memphis Depay turn up against Bruges and has turned up in fits and starts in other games, then Klein's going to have a tough afternoon, but I don't know where he's going to play. Is he going to play on the left? Is he going to play the right? Is he going to play through the middle? I've got no idea. You know, a lot of how Memphis performs is going to hinge on where Van Gaal plays him, and that hinges on getting into the mind of Louis Van Gaal, and that's not something I want to try and do. I'm pretty sure that's not something an entire team and the world's best psychoanalyst could probably manage to do either.
Yeah, you know, we all expect him to play on the left, and he could play through the middle. He could play as the striker. He could play center back. Who knows? Moving on to that, trying to guess Van Gaal, getting his mind. Nate, give me the starting 11, or who would you start this weekend against Liverpool?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see De Gea start. Him signing a new contract or some craziness like that today or tomorrow would be amazing. And then sticking between the posts. I mean, he should have been there the whole season. Van Gaal plays games, and De Gea paid the price for those games. And in honesty, we probably paid the price for loss of 3 points last week because of this game that he played. So it's disappointing that happened. So hopefully De Gea's in the sticks, same back four as we've always had. I'd like to see the Schmidfield start. Carrick is probably not going to play with his injury, so I'd like to see those two guys. I'm sure Mata's going to start on the right. He had a good game, finally played for Spain, obviously got that goal. So he'll probably play on the right. Rooney through up front. Behind him, hopefully Herrera is given another shot there. By far, it's our best option. And then Depay on the left, obviously with Rooney up front. So that starting 11 I still think is our best option. If Van Gaal is going to try to play some crazy games, maybe he benches Mata and sticks Martial on the right, and we just go for pace with hopefully Rooney bagging a couple goals, you know, on the off chance that it comes to him, or however it might work. But same 11 as the last game, I would hope. I think it's our best 11, but it's LVG, and you never know what he's going to do.
Yeah, I like that option, what you were talking about with Herrera playing, because then you kind of pack the midfield. You know, you have Herrera, and it's funny. I was just thinking, like, whenever I write my team down, I just write Schmidfield. I don't even have to spell. I'm not spelling both of them out. You know, a team I would go for similar, but I would slot in Rojo because I'm not taking the chance of Daley Blind getting abused in the air. Schmidfield, and then the triple M line: Martial on the right, Mata in the middle, Memphis on the left. Because I think Martial and Memphis offer pace, and I think, you know, that's something that this team is severely lacking. You know, not just, you know, obviously the players themselves, just the tempo of the play. It's just been slow. It's been boring. There's also, I'm going to ask Dan, before you give me your starting 11, rumors of a training ground, not a bust up, but some players had some concerns with Van Gaal and his training. You know, the way he trains. Couldn't think of the word. They want to play with more freedom. Is that something, you know, say the story is true? What do you think about that, Dan? Because it is almost like the players are restricted. You know, there's a stat that we've made the most back passes over the last, you know, season and a half, more than any other team. And I think we use the long ball more than QPR, something along those lines, Dan.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to change his ways, Louis Van Gaal, is he? I mean, he's so stubborn. But I would like to see some more freedom in the Manchester United team. But I just don't think that he's going to change his philosophy. To be honest, he seems to be stuck in his ways, Louis Van Gaal, and it seems to maybe it is upsetting some of the players. But we just got to hope that there isn't too much unrest in the dressing room, and they can sort it out. Really, I think.
And your starting 11?
My starting lineup would be pretty much the same as Nate's starting lineup. Apart from, I agree with you. I'd sooner see Rojo back in the defence. I know he's probably not going to put him back in. I still don't know what's up with that. If he has fallen out with him or in the past or what, he just needs to put it behind him, because I still don't see Daley Blind playing there long term in that position. I think that if we continue to play him there long term, then we're probably going to come unstuck against some of the teams, because so many of these games, well, there's no easy games in the Premier League now, so we're going to come unstuck at some point. I just don't think he's a centre back at all.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think, though, maybe, you know, the way Rooney and Carrick are, you know, apparently Rooney has some say on the starting 11, Mike, and Carrick has some influence as the vice captain. Can you see those players going to Van Gaal and saying, you know, we'll play possession based, but you gotta let us off the kind of let us off the leash a little bit. Let us play like we played in that brilliant game, run of games where we just dominated, Liverpool at Anfield, Spurs at home, and your starting 11.
Oh, well, first of all, if Rooney and Carrick do have a say in the starting lineup, that's horrific. I wouldn't let them pick my starting lineup on FIFA, and then I'd pick it in real life. As far as starting 11 goes, yep, I think it'll pretty much be as Nate and Dan have both said. I'm not so sure about Rojo. I mean, the guy's clearly on a personal level not entirely reliable at all. He had legal issues when he came to the club relating to some incident with a neighbour back in Argentina. He's had issues with his work permit ever since. He couldn't even be bothered to bring his passport with him or whatever it was when he got on the plane to go to the United States. So, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't play because he's not proved himself reliable enough right now to come merit a place in the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Ashley Young actually played this weekend. He was pretty good in the big games that we played. I'm not a massive fan of his. I think he was a stopgap measure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays. He does have pace and direct running at players. Who he plays instead of, probably one of Mata or Herrera drops out. He doesn't like those two for whatever reason, I don't know, even though we're an infinitely better side when they play, because we talk about not having pace, but when they're in the team, we play with pace. They move the ball around really, really quickly, and it's very hard for teams to cope with that. Nothing moves quicker than the ball, and that includes, doesn't matter how fast the guy is running. If you can move the ball around quickly, doesn't matter. Barcelona did it for years under Pep Guardiola. They just moved the ball quicker than everybody else. I wasn't even sure. I don't think Xavi had any pace at all, but he looked like the quickest guy on the pitch, and he was passing that ball around. So I'd like to see Herrera and Mata play. Maybe leave Memphis out and probably put Ashley Young in there. I just think you might be a little bit more reliable for a game like this. I'd rather have Memphis coming off the bench to make an impact, like maybe Martial could.
Yeah, I think, maybe Van Gaal is just jealous of Mata and Herrera's bromance. He probably looks at Giggs and says, how come we don't have a bromance like that or something? Because, when the two do play, they just have this understanding where they don't even have to look up. They just know where the other's going to be, and they were vital in us getting Champions League football. Just play them, I have a feeling both those two players will be here longer than Van Gaal, so I'm not too worried about that. I think eventually they will shine through. But I can't argue with any of your starting 11s. Herrera, for me, is a class player. I would not mind seeing him in the number 10 role. I have a feeling maybe Fellaini might play, but who knows? I'm going to give my score prediction. I think it's going to be 3-1. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet. I can't see us scoring goals because I do not think they're good at the back. I think we can dominate midfield. And I think that, David De Gea should start, absolutely, because he makes the difference. He's a world-class keeper, if not the best in the world, top 2 or 3. Next to Neuer. Neuer's the only one I can put ahead of him. So Dan, I'm going to go run through the lineup again. Score predictions and where people can find you on Twitter. Dan, you're first.
I think it'll be 1-0. I think it's going to be a tight game. Neither team's really scoring a lot of goals, so not really confident of a high-scoring game. And you can find me at Twitter on DanielH1558, and also check me and Joey out on All Things Man United on YouTube. Subscribe if you want. We do a lot of match previews and match reviews and talk about all things Man United.
And Mike?
Sorry about that, mate. A few technical issues there for a second. I think it'll be 2-1. It'll be a tight game, as Dan said. I think it'll be entertaining, but I don't think the quality of the football is going to be particularly great, if you get what I mean. It says where you can find me. You can find me at Mike_Loudmouth on Twitter. I do write a regular column for Stretty News website. I'm also a regular panelist on the podcast as well, the Stretty Cast. Usually with Dale, Dan Stapleton, and Johnny Brook.
Yeah, make sure you check out that podcast. I've been listening since the beginning of the season, and it is quality. Make sure you check out StrettyNews.com for articles. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please give this video a like. Share it with your friends. Nate, where can people find you and your score prediction?
I'm going for 3-0, and there'll be back-to-back 3-0s for Liverpool. All the Boo Boys will start. Brendan Rodgers will come under fire, and Liverpool will go down for another 10 years. It's going to be amazing. But people can find me at Nathaniel Hyde on Twitter. I do some writing for my own blog, Reds of the World, and then I also do some writing for Funny Old Games. So hopefully see you guys online.
Yeah, that's Ben's speech. That's part of his new project, The Funny Old Game. Make sure you guys check that out. Nate going with not just a score prediction, but maybe everything prediction. Get in touch with him if you want to know tomorrow's lottery numbers as well. Again, I'm Joey Tabor. You can find me at Joey Tabor. Everyone's links will be in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like. Leave a comment with your score prediction, your lineup. And we will see you Sunday for Steady Sundays. It will be a review of Saturday's game. So thank you for watching and have a good night.